From the moment I opened my eyes that morning, I felt something in the air shift, like fate had taken a breath and was holding it, waiting to see what I would do next. I didn't know that by the end of the day, my life would be split into a before and after, before the blind date, before the humiliating twist of being caught by the one person I never expected to see there, and before discovering a truth I should have realized long ago. But everything began with a heart that was tired of being cautious, with a quiet hope I thought I had buried under years of self-doubt. Little did I know, destiny was preparing to turn the tables on me in a way I could never have imagined. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that reflect the fragile beauty of being human, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive. My name is Daniel Brooks, a 29-year-old project manager at a mid-sized tech company in Seattle, where I have worked for the last 4 years under a woman whose confidence and presence had always left me quietly mesmerized. Her name was Emily Carter, 33, brilliant, composed, and an effortlessly compelling leader whose kindness never felt forced and whose expectations always inspired you to stretch a little further. And although I admired her deeply, I had convinced myself that admiration was all I was allowed to feel. She was my boss, after all. Someone out of reach, someone who seemed to always glide through life with purpose, while I was still trying to figure out why my heart always felt stuck between yearning and fear. For months, my friends had been pushing me to go on a blind date. They said I worked too much, thought too much, held back too much. Eventually, I gave in, not because I believed anything serious would come out of it, but because a part of me was ready to breathe, ready to try something new, ready to believe that maybe love existed beyond the world of deadlines, performance reports, and the quiet ache I felt every time Emily smiled at someone else in the hallway. Still, I told myself not to think about her. It was easier that way. The blind date was set at a soft-lit cafe downtown, the kind of place that smelled like warm cinnamon and soft music, a place where strangers met with the faint hope that destiny still had room for new beginnings. I arrived early, nerves buzzing under my skin, wondering if I looked too formal or not formal enough, wondering if I was making a mistake or finally doing something right for once. My date Mia, a 27-year-old graphic designer, arrived a little late, friendly and cheerful, but as we talked, I could tell something was missing. It wasn't her fault. She was lively and kind, but my heart wasn't connecting. Still, I did my best. I wanted to be present, to be open, to be the man who tried instead of the man who hesitated. But halfway through the conversation, my breath caught in my throat. Because there right by the entrance stood Emily Carter. She wasn't dressed like my boss. She wasn't the composed executive commanding a conference room. She was just a woman in jeans and a soft sweater, hair gently curled, expression unreadable as her eyes landed on me. And in that frozen moment, something inside me cracked wide open. I didn't know if it was panic, embarrassment, or something deeper, something more terrifying, like the feeling of being seen in a way I wasn't ready for. The moment stretched into a silent eternity. Emily gave a small, tight smile and nodded politely before walking toward the counter, pretending not to notice that my entire soul had leapt out of my body. Mia, unaware of the emotional earthquake happening inside me, kept talking. But I couldn't hear anything anymore. My heartbeat was too loud. What were the chances? Why was she here? What fate, cruel or kind, had orchestrated this? I tried to focus on Mia, but my gaze kept drifting toward Emily. She didn't approach me, but her presence filled the room like a quiet storm waiting to break. Every so often, she glanced my way, quick, unguarded, almost startled, as if she herself was trying to process what she was witnessing. When the date ended, I walked outside with a strange weight pressing on my chest. The night air felt colder than usual, and I stood on the sidewalk trying to steady myself. But before I could take a step, I heard the soft click of heels approaching behind me, each footstep sinking into the air like an unanswered question. Emily stopped beside me. There was no boardroom confidence now, no professional mask, just a quiet vulnerability I had never seen before. She looked at me with a mix of confusion, disbelief, and something I wasn't brave enough to interpret. And then she asked me a question that would unravel everything inside me. She asked why I had never tried asking her out. The words hit me like a tidal wave, reshaping every memory, every suppressed feeling, every stolen glance across the office. All this time, I had convinced myself that she would never see me the way I saw her. That she would never want me, notice me, or consider me. And yet here she was, standing beneath the streetlights, waiting for an answer that I didn't know how to give. In that moment, something shifted. The world didn't feel so still anymore. It felt like it was spinning with possibility. I explained in the only way I could that I respected her too much, that I didn't want to cross lines, that she was too extraordinary and I didn't want to ruin the professional balance we had. She listened quietly, her eyes softening with each word, as if she had always known something I was only starting to understand. But she didn't walk away. She didn't laugh. She didn't tell me I was foolish. Instead, she simply stayed beside me, letting silence speak where words were too fragile. The days that followed were some of the most emotionally tangled moments of my life. At work, she was still my boss, still the composed leader I admired. But something in our interactions had changed, gently, subtly, like the warmth that spreads through a cold room when you light a single candle. She looked at me longer. Her voice softened when she spoke to me. I found myself smiling more, standing a little taller, feeling something bloom inside me that I had never allowed before. Yet, along with the warmth came fear. I was terrified of reading too much into things. Terrified of destroying the professional boundary. Terrified of losing the respect she had for me. Every emotion was a flickering flame that threatened to burn me if I wasn't careful. But I wasn't the only one feeling something. One evening, after everyone else had left, I found her sitting alone in the conference room, her posture slightly slouched, her eyes distant. She looked like someone who was carrying more weight than she let on. And for the first time, I saw not the leader, not the successful, unshakable woman, but a human being who felt and hoped and feared just like the rest of us. We talked then, not like boss and employee, but like two people standing on the fragile edge of something important. She told me that seeing me on that date had surprised her more than she wanted to admit. She told me she had always noticed me, my kindness, my dedication, the way I treated people, the way I carried burdens quietly without complaining. She told me that she had waited, hoping I might take a chance someday, even though she knew I probably wouldn't. Her honesty shook something loose inside me. It made me realize how many moments we waste being scared of the very thing we desire the most. From there, things didn't transform overnight, but they did evolve slowly, beautifully, with the kind of authenticity that makes you grateful for every breath. We started spending time together after work, walking through the city, sharing stories we had never told anyone else, discovering the little details that made us who we were. I learned about her fears, her past heartbreaks, her strength. She learned about my insecurities, my hopes, my quiet dreams of being seen and valued beyond the tasks I completed. What began as a complicated twist of fate became a connection built on truth. The more time we spent together, the more I realized how wrong I had been to think I wasn't worthy of her. And the more she shared, the more she realized how wrong she had been to wait in silence. Our relationship wasn't perfect. We had hard conversations. We struggled with the boundaries, with the opinions of others, with the pressure of making something real in a world that rarely gives adults the space to be vulnerable. But we tried. We fought for something neither of us expected but both of us needed. And in trying, we found a version of love that felt deeply human, full of flaws and beauty, courage and fragility. It wasn't the blind date that changed my life. It was being seen by the one person I had never believed would look my way. And it was finally learning to stop running from the things that scared me the most. If this story touched your heart, even a little, I want to invite you to like the video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe for more emotional stories that remind us we're not alone in the world.